Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuroencoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everybody. We have one of the most charismatic, how do you say that? Charismatic, that's the word. Here, now you know we're live. Man that I know, and happy to have him in my life. We have Arron Lloyd on today. He is a theater and film actor turned performance coach who helps people find their voice and own the room. He's a certified dual elite neuroencoding specialist. He can fill in how many stars in a minute. Applying brain-based tools to accelerate confidence and behavior and change that works with actors, entrepreneurs, and high performers to align identity. He is known for storycraft, and we're going to talk about this big time today, state management, which bridges mindset, embodiment, and practical reps. And of course, he is always here helping us serve veterans and their families. So with that said, my friend, tell us a little bit more about yourself and how many stars.
What's going on, Mike? It's a pleasure to be back on. I'm a 2-star dual elite neuroencoding specialist, originally from Bridgeport, Connecticut, which is an inner city in Connecticut. Single parent home, oldest of 3. Lost my father when I was a 1-year-old, and kind of went through some challenges in terms of navigating the inner city, then getting to college, and navigating a sense of who I am and what I have to offer into the world, and that gap between what I always envisioned versus where I was and what I was living. So that's kind of where we are now, and things are shaking up, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and anybody not following Mr. Arron Lloyd, check him out. He's doing some really amazing, cool stuff in all aspects of life, man. So, and we'll talk about how to reach out to him and connect with him at the end of the show. So before we really start rolling, just want to remind everybody on the top left-hand corner of your screen, there's a blue QR code. Scan that. If you're on the podcast forums later on, it's empowerperformancestrategies.com. Again, empowerperformancestrategies.com for all of those who want to get involved. Join the mission. We have free ebooks. We have Facebook groups. We have a whole community. So come join us. And with that said, my friend, I want to start off a little bit before we jump into questions, because I want to know, and I know we talked about it before, but people new to seeing you, what got you into this realm? I know acting. You can talk about that as well, but also just the self-development. What said, I need something different?
Man, so how would I get into self-development? I've always had a bigger vision for my life. I've always wanted to get better. And my avenue into that when I was in high school was football. Okay, well, discipline, things like that, get into football and sports. And then once I got into college, obviously that's acting. And acting for me is something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And what I want for my life is more holistic. I want something beyond acting. I want my life to be more than acting. I want my life to have more purpose than that. And there's purpose in acting. Don't get me wrong with that. But the way self-development came through was I was living in the Bronx. And if you've heard this story before, I didn't have a bed. I was sleeping on the floor in the Bronx. And, this is a time in my life where like my card was getting declined trying to buy a jar of peanut butter. How I got this way, I don't know. Just no financial literacy. I was working, but the money would go out sooner than I was making it, so I found myself sleeping on the floor, and I knew I was doing right or trying to do right with what I had. I wasn't robbing people. I wasn't doing anything like that. So I was like, well, what's going on? So I started jumping into books and podcasts and things like that. Les Brown and Joseph and all these people. And it came to a point where I just knew things. I forget. I must have been like 24, 25. And I was like, things have to change. I can't keep on living this way. It's that breaking point. And change doesn't happen from saying, oh, it's going to change and it happen. It happens from a decision in the moment. And then life is never the same after that. So
Amen.
I went to this conference, and I didn't even have enough money for the hotel room, and there was a blizzard that weekend. But talking about a decision, I said, I don't care, hell or high water, I'm going to this thing, because what else do I have to lose? I have nothing else to lose. I just gone to the hospital, like I think like that 2 weeks prior, because something clicked on my back because I was sleeping on the floor so long. So I was really, really in a place where I have to make something change. And I went to that event, and by the grace of God, like the hotel didn't matter. Somebody let me stay in their room, and the rest has been history. And it's personal development will continue to always happen. There's always something to work on. There's no perfection. It's like what Joseph said, it's personal development's like 0 to infinity. You're never going to get to infinity, but you're further away from 0. So that's
Love it.
kind of been my journey with that.
I love it. And you know what? We don't stop. I shouldn't say we. Most people, and I'm guilty too, we're so caught up in what we're doing that we don't stop and think about, wow, this is where I am now compared to where I was then.
Hmm.
Because I mean, we all have I'm going to say we almost all have a story like this, right?
Hmm.
And I'm very big on presence, and I just want people to maybe just take a second and think back. Not right now, because Aaron's got some more stuff to tell us, but think back and just say, man, where was that pivotal moment? What was it that changed the trajectory of my life? And for me, I can go back, and I'm not going to spend much time on this, but I can go back. When you do presentations and you do public speaking, you have stories that you come up with, and you go back, and I can be like, okay, well, this age, this age, at this age, and you really go back and you look at all those different aspects in those moments. When we joined NEI, for both of us, I guarantee was a big pivotal moment, right? And what brought us to that, and so on. So I just want people to go back and think just for a minute of so you can create that gratefulness for yourself for just a minute of, wow, that's where I was, that happened, but look at the door that was open because of it and where I am now. Because
Exactly.
it's a beautiful thing to think about. Um, so with that said, I know we have some questions, and unfortunately my teleprompter isn't working, so I'm going to read them from the paper. That's why I was all over the place earlier,
We're live.
because
We're live.
we're live, man. So we're just going to roll. So and we're gonna probably just do one question, and then we're just gonna end up talking, because that's what generally happens, just because we love organic conversation. But so on stage, a character's backstory drives choices. In real life, how can someone rewrite their backstory? And this is so important for so many. So that trauma informs them, but doesn't define them.
Yes.
Because it's a scary thing when it defines you and it becomes your true story. We're not going to get into secondary gain and all the other things that happen from there, but
Mhm.
tell us about that, if you will.
Yeah, that's incredible. For acting, one of the first things that we're taught as actors is you have the given circumstances. So if I'm doing a play or a script, given circumstances means if the script and the playwright or the screenwriter has written that this takes place in Albuquerque and it's during the 1930s, I as an artist and can't say, oh, I want this thing, I'm going to use my art, and now it's suddenly taking place in the 2000s, and it's taking place in somewhere else like Utah or something like that, or New York or whatever. I can't do that. I have given circumstances. The given circumstances for anybody's life is the trauma, is the things that you've gone through. Let's say you fell down and scraped your knee. You can't change the fact that you fell down and scraped your knee. That happened. That's in the past. How you relate to the past, and we're talking about reframing a little bit, that can change. What you make something mean can change. What do I mean by that? Means that if you fell down and scraped your knee, you could sit there and say, oh my God, my knee is bleeding. Or you can say, hey, look at my body. Look how incredible it is. It healed. Look how much more resilient I am. And now you have a different feeling about that thing. And it's always think, feel, do, have. So if you feel differently about the things that you have, then you're gonna react in the future differently and have a different level of awareness and discipline concerning that. So how you shift that, we as neuroencoders, we have a tool called changing personal history. And it's something that changes and relates and changes and shifts you on a cellular level, how you relate to that thing. So you really get it encoded in your body. It's not really going to affect you anymore. But if you needed to do something right now, I encourage you to write down what happened. If you can, talk to your people if it's not going to be too traumatic and things. I know we're working with veterans and things like that here. And if you thank you for your service to anybody who has, if you've served the country and gone out and and put your life on the line and things like that. That's But what I encourage you to do is to write down what happened, if you can, if you have the ability to, and then reflect on what this means for you. Look at how courageous you are. Look at the relationships that you built, and make it mean something differently. And then you can go build on other tools on top of that after that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love that, and thank you for bringing it back to veterans, of course. And this tool that Aaron's talking about, you can use it for anything, right? So it could be I got let go from my job. It can be because that can be trauma for people, right? And rightfully so till you figure it out, So I loved how you talked about that. So can I ask even deeper? So how do you really integrate that? So you went through and you've done the exercise. How do you really integrate that into your nervous system, if you will?
By shifting your identity. Everything is via identity. And this brings up I'll share. So identity drives everything. There's a difference between saying, I've done something stupid, I believe something stupid, versus I am stupid, right? There's a huge difference in that. So if you relate to yourself differently in terms of like, oh, I've done something stupid, or I had this mistake, or whatever, or this happened, and you shift it in your identity, then your identity is going to drive your behavior, which is your self-concept, your self-image is so important. And then how you let other people put whatever it is that they put on you in terms of what your potential is also important to realize. There's a story of a scorpion and a frog. And the scorpion was at the riverbank and wanted to get to the other side in order to get to his family. And the scorpion can't swim. So he said, "Hey, Mr. Frog, I'd like if you give me a ride on your back so we can, so I can get across to my family." And the frog was like, "What do you think? I'm stupid? Scorpions sting frogs. I'm absolutely not going to do that. If you sting me, we're both going to drown. We're both going to die." And Scorpion was like, "Absolutely not. Why would I sting you if I'd drown with you? That makes zero sense. Just let me get to my family. Let me hop on your back." And the frog was like, "Okay, fine." And midway through the journey, the scorpion sure enough stung the frog. And the frog was like, "What in the world? Scorpion, why would you do this? Now we're both going to drown." And the scorpion said, "I'm a scorpion. The scorpions sting frogs." So your identity, that's self-sabotage in a way. When your identity, and your question was like, how do you encode it, is by shifting your identity, how you define yourself. Write down every 25 times a day in the morning. Write down who you are. Write down who you are and how you feel, even if you don't believe it at the moment. Just write it down and how you relate to yourself. And over time, it's going to change. And then that's going to drive your behavior, and it's going to shift who you are and your results.
Absolutely love it. And if I can, I want to add in, no, actually, I'm going to ask you, as far as really getting it into your system and encoding it, how does celebrations play a part in that?
Celebration is important. So it's like the story of, if you have a baby, an infant, and that baby looks up at the mom for the first time and says, "Ma," the mother doesn't look at the baby and say, "You dumb baby." It's mother. The mother is excited, is elated, and that's how the baby learns. And that never goes anywhere. Celebration, how you praise yourself, even for the minuscule things, the small things in your life, that's super, super duper important, because it's going to teach you, hey, this felt good. I'm going to keep on doing that. And you just keep on running with it, keep on rolling with it. Make it a daily practice for yourself of celebration.
I want to just bring up that, as neuroencoders, conditioning the celebration is really important, right? Because you are conditioning to lock those things in. So how often do you celebrate something and then you're depressed or anxious or have anxiety or any of those things? It doesn't happen at the same time. You can't be grateful and upset at the same time. You physically cannot. Can you talk to me a little bit more? I see we're already off the questions.
Yeah, hey, let's roll.
I know, this is what we do. I'm going to circle back to, there's at least one more that I definitely want to touch base on. But so how do you really make that difference?
Make difference of the encoding?
Yeah. So let me go back 2 steps. So really just when you're celebrating and you're grateful, give us some more thoughts on keeping that gratefulness, so that, of course, with the celebrations, it just gets more and more ingrained. But with that gratefulness of, like, for instance, your list, which I love that you talk about, and I do the same thing. So when you're
Mhm.
going through that list, really talk about how you get grateful inside on those kinds of things so that you
Got it.
can encode them in, if you will.
So you now identify with it. It's I would encourage you to do something like this. This is from the acting world. When we're studying Shakespeare, something that we use to study this language and get it in our body, because my definition of a great Shakespearean actor or a great actor is if the audience understands the language. It's cool that you as the actor understands whatever it is that you're saying, but you as a Shakespeare actor need to have the audience understand the story, even if they don't understand the words, if that makes sense.
It does.
So how does this correspond? If you are writing something where it's like, oh, I'm whatever it is that you're working on, I'm courageous, but you've never felt courageous a day in your life. And you're saying, well, this is bull crap. Like, I don't feel this. The way you kind of do this and the way Shakespeare actors do it is you go thought by thought. So if it's to be or not to be, that is the question. To be or not to be might be the first stanza, the first line, the first I am, right? So you do that, but you take each breath. So it's to, breathe it in, get it in your body. To be, to be or, and you do that after each thing, after each thought, and then you do it again, but then do it 70% down. This is also great for memorization, by the way. So you do that, and then after each one of those things you can celebrate, I did that, you know what I mean? And that's going to lock it in more. So as you're doing your statements or whatever it is that you're doing, it's a matter of slowing it down, integrating it, and then also depending on if you're visual, kinesthetic, auditory, you find a meditation practice for yourself to really get it into yourself. What does life look like? What does life feel like? What does life sound like when you're living the life that you really deserve and that you really want? What is that? And then keep that as what it is. It's the carrot on a stick, right? Rather than being pushed and motivated into something, what are you striving towards? And that's really going to help you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely love that. And I did not know that breathing exercise that you just talked about for ingrading and memory. I'm going to use that.
Use it, take it.
Oh, I'm going to. You ever been in the shower and be like, did I already wash my hair? You got a couple of years, you'll get there.
Yeah. You talking about dye?
What's that?
Hair dye? What are you talking about?
No. No, just as you get older, sometimes your memory doesn't as sharp as it is when you're younger. That's all, man.
Got it.
Hair dye works too. I mean, no, but when you're focused on other things, and I know I'm totally offshooting this whole thing right now, but when you're focused on different things, sometimes you go on autopilot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is important that we bring ourselves back out of autopilot and that presence is back. And when I say that about, you're in the shower and you're like, I wash my hair and you're moving on. It's like, did I wash my hair? Because you're so on autopilot and your thoughts are so just flying through your brain that it literally deletes that memory. So I think it's really important that you just stop and be present. Do the exercise. I was just making a joke about myself about being in the shower and not remembering if I should wash my hair or not. So I think it's really important just to be present, in that moment.
Yes.
So long story about how I forget if I wash my hair. Sorry, everybody. Let's move on, shall we? I do want to talk about this because we are very big on not only the veterans but their families, right? So the unsung silent heroes, if you will, that are holding down the fort, that are there for their spouses or brothers or sisters or whoever it is when they come back out of the military, because of course everybody's changed and there's a lot of reintegration that goes on there. And so I really want to talk about the spouses and or caregivers, if you will, as well. So for them listening, what language helps a loved one expand their self-image without triggering shame or defensiveness?
I would say these keywords. I believe in you. I believe in you. And I'll explain why. It's I believe in you and I believe in who you're becoming would be even better one, I believe. Because that doesn't trigger their past, which is a shame, but it does trigger their future, that carrot on a stick. And this is actually back. I don't know the exact social experiment, but they actually, I think in the military did this where just as an experiment, they had the leader of the platoon, I don't know the language, but the platoon leader, whoever it was that was kind of in charge of this battalion over here, versus over here. When those soldiers were coming into each group, they would tell the leader of each one of those groups either A, oh, these people are underperformers, these people aren't really performing well, they're below average, versus the other group, they'll say, oh, these are the cream of the crop, these are top performers, they excelled. And what they found is both sides were equal. But what they found is because of the way the leaders treated those each groups, they rose to the occasion or they didn't. So this is super important as a caregiver or spouse. The vision, the life that you speak into your person is going to be super important because we all fall short of the mark sometimes, and we all need that encouragement. We all need something to believe in. So I think as a caregiver, as a spouse, is believing in what your spouse is going to be, who they are, and holding strong on that vision for them because they'll rise to it.
I love that. It was the Navy SEALs that did that, by the way. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's talk about the flip side. Okay. You're the military veteran, and your spouse, whatever the case is changed too, and they need the support as well. Even though you're going through what you're going through, right? I mean, the honeymoon period's great. Everybody's, I'm home, all this is fantastic, great. But then real life kicks in. Les Brown, life be lifing, right? As we all know very well, because it is probably one of the most true statements ever. So what would you say to them, the veterans themselves coming back, to help reconnect, if you will? Arron, you there? Oh, we're gonna hang on a second. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Life be life.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I heard.
What's that? Oh, got it. So from a veteran coming home to the spouse, the family, and so on, just talking about kind of being there for them as well and reconnecting. So other than slowing down, and I know you just dropped some great gold, but what are some other thoughts that you have for being present and reconnecting with your spouse?
I think there's a couple great ways. One, there's a great book that one of my mentors gave or recommended to me. There's a great book called Love and Respect. I forget who the author is. That's a great one. Cherish is also a great one. And so a great practice is literally eye contact, spending time looking into your partner's eyes, breathing with them, speaking life into them. There's something, I forget which book it was. It might've been Love and Respect. Women want, and this is not to say that men don't want love and women don't want respect. It's just what the book found is that women respond more to love, meaning Hallmark cards mention love and how I can love this person. Whereas men, we appreciate love, but what will probably bring a man to tears is appreciation. Meaning if you, from the beginning of the year, 2026 is about to be here, if you wrote down one thing every day that you appreciated about your partner and gave that to him during the holidays, he'd probably break down in tears. Just the things that I appreciated that you took out the garbage today. I appreciated that you did this. You don't even got to tell him then, but if you gave him that as a letter, as opposed to a Hallmark card, that would probably hit a man differently. And I see you nodding, so I know that would hit me, right? Yeah. Versus for a woman, they need respect too, and they respond to love. So it's typically if you don't love me, I'm not going to respect you. And then a man's like, well, if you're not respecting me, I'm not going to love you. And it becomes this crazy eight thing. And we're talking about relationship dynamics. So how do you then, as your spouse, remember that honeymoon period? And it's about literally going back maybe to the same places that you've gone, if you have that ability to. The place that you first went on a date with. Hey, remember when you did this? Polishing those memories, they're called, right? So polishing the memories of what drew you to this person in the first place. What was it that you saw in this person? Because you know this person's soul, you know their heart. And to know their heart is to know that nobody's perfect, right? We're in the person that you have the most intimacy with, and we're not just talking about physical, we're talking about like the emotional intimacy that you have with this person. You know their hopes, you know their dreams, you know their fears, you know all those kinds of things. They're human. So give them a break sometimes. That's hard when why your socks on the freaking ground and why is the toothpaste in the sink and all this kind of stuff, all those little things that go on, but have some grace because there's things that they could probably say about you too that aren't really the best, right? And it's the same thing that the Navy SEALs did. See them as you wish them to be and speak that over them and believe in them, and then go from there and rekindle it from there.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And I just want to say, The books that I think the titles say it all by itself: Love and Respect and Cherish, the books you just mentioned.
Yeah.
If you keep that in your life, you're winning the game.
Yes.
I always tell people, when respect is gone, it's very tough to get that relationship back.
Yeah.
You know, when you're being disrespectful, those kinds of things. So I love your points there. Thank you, Aaron. And I want to also say, my wife, she's not on here right now. She had something else to do. Usually she's watching and playing with us, but she will, when she leaves to go on a trip or go somewhere or something like that, she'll leave me little love notes all over the house to find, right?
Oh, wow.
Just saying little sweet things, right? And the jar that you talked about, she gave me one of those, you know, with all these little things in there. I think it was her Valentine's Day, or it might have been Christmas. It's been multiple years ago. We've been together for a few years, so celebrating that, by the way. So literally this cute little thing, and little notes of things to take out and read each day. And I still have it now because I put the notes back in, and I still go in and pull out a note, even though it's been 20 some years.
See?
It's the notes are still meaningful, right? So when you just have those little things, those little reminders, those little things of, hey, this person cherishes me because, or she loves me or respects me, or whatever the case may be, because of this, it's a beautiful thing to just, when you're feeling it like you need it, to just have it. So I love that you brought that up, and I would encourage other people to create those little things for each other. So when you're feeling down because the damn toothpaste is in the sink again, and you stop and get present with yourself, you can pull that and say, yeah, but she loves me because.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So just a thought, and I'm really glad you brought that up, because I've not thought about that in a while, and when we're done, I'm going to go grab a note.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
No, I love it, man. So we're almost out of time here. So I want to ask, first of all, how do people reach out to the amazing Arron Lloyd?
I appreciate that. You can reach out to me, Arron Empowers, Instagram, Arron Lloyd, LinkedIn, Arron Lloyd, and those would be the best ways to reach out to me.
Fantastic. And do you have anything you're working on for anybody that may be interested in working with you or anything at this point? I know you have the I'm not going to say it out loud, but the acting stuff that you have going on. So why don't you share a little bit about that, if you will?
Sure. I have a couple projects coming out. Next year, I have one domestic that I still can't speak about. Then I also have another global project that's coming out next year. That's massive, that I'm really excited about. So both those are slated to come out in 2026. On the acting front, in terms of coaching and speaking, I have a book that I'm currently expanding and working on. And as far as the holidays, I'm happy to buy two sessions with anybody that reaches out to me between now and January. Just give them two sessions to work through into the new year. But that's what I have working on right now: that book, and then the two acting projects that are coming out.
Excellent. And guys, Arron is one. Arron, don't listen for a minute, because I'm going to talk good about you. Just hang out. Now, Arron is one of the most genuine people I know. You could sit and just, there's no pretense. There's just Arron Lloyd in full integrity whenever you talk to him. He's one of the best people that we know. And so if you have a chance to work with him, you should absolutely reach out. If you're an actor, you're trying to figure things out, he's got memberships, he's got groups. I'm even in there just to pick up some extra tips, because you never know when I might start my acting career. All jokes aside, though, if you have a chance to work with Arron, you should check it out and that kind of thing. So as we wrap up here, you know the drill. I need 3 tips to get veterans and the families further faster.
Further faster veteran tips: love, 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 love is the foundation of everything. Love yourself, love others. And if you have a spouse, love them too, via however they want to be loved, and have a conversation about it. Check in, have monthly check-ins. Like, where are we in terms of our love life right now? And what do you feel like you need from me? Where am I falling short? Where can I improve? How can I love you better? So that's that. 2 is belief. Believe in yourself. Believe in who you are. Believe in whose you are. Believe in that something greater than you gave you the heart that's beating in your chest. You've never heard of heart cancer before. That's the power of love. That's the power of your heart. That's the power of you. 3 is polish your memories. Something drew you to the military in the first place. Those integrity, valor, brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever it is, something drew you there because you have that value in you already. So hold on to that, because that's still who you are, and just polish those memories in terms of what drew you to that, and then how you're going to integrate that into your identity now in your civilian life, because those values aren't just for the military, they're for regular lives as well.
I love it. Yeah, bring that home with you. And there are so many. Thank you for saying that. There are so many leadership skills and different skills, grit, you name it, that you come out of the military with. That people in the military, generally, it's a job, right? But that work experience, if you will, transfers into civilian life and can help you thrive. So I love that you brought that up, Arron. Fantastic, man. And with that said, everybody, Arron, time is the most precious resource we have, my friend. We don't get it back. So thank you for coming on and spreading so many gold nuggets and thoughts and your wisdom with us again. So I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. Love you.
Absolutely love you too, brother. All right, man. Everybody, we're out of here.
Peace.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.